2024 was a great year for TV shows. There were several new standouts on the silver screen, everything from adaptations to original creation. Far too many to mention, however, so we're just going to limit ourselves to just the top 3 for the whole year. Let's get into it.
Spoiler alert for every show we bring up in this video. You've been warned.
The number 3 show of 2024 could easily have also been the number 1 show, and that is FX and Hulu's period piece Shogun. Following a tumultuous time in Japan's history, we are thrust into a civil war with the main character John Blackthorne, a British sailor whose ship came down with sickness. Through politics and infighting, John found himself working for the Lord Yoshi Toranaga, who is played by the legendary Hiroyuki Sanada. This show was so true to Japanese culture during the early times of Western civilization, going out and exploring, that you felt like you were actually there. The actors played their characters perfectly. Not a single line was misdelivered. I'm not the only one to think so either, which is why for most people, they would actually put this as their number 1 show of the year. It received 4 Golden Globe Awards. It also received a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was so good, in fact, that it wasn't even planned to have a second season, but people wanted so much more of it that the writers decided, you know what, let's do it. Hopper, I know you haven't watched it, but this show is just so good. It's a period piece that, if you've watched a new Nosferatu, people praise like how true to the mid 1800s Europe that
Robert
it was.
Eggers be doing that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And they did so well doing that with this. They really captured the traditions, the morals, and just the culture of early Japanese, like Japanese culture that's like experiencing the outside world for the first time, you know, because you've got the Spaniards coming, you've got the British coming over to what they call the Japan Islands is what they kept calling it. And all of them want different things, you know, but for the most part, they just want to use and exploit the Japanese. The Japanese are kind of aware of this, and they're using that to their advantage, and they kind of pit those factions against each other while also trying to deal with the Civil War. And with... I feel like I butchered his name, but Hiroyuki Sanada playing Lord Toranaga, dude, it's phenomenal acting. It's blown away with how well he did in his role. And I know you haven't watched it, but which is a curious thing. Why have you not watched this? Because I know we both talked about it when it first came out.
Being busy.
Yeah, but it's just so good. I can't get enough of it. The ending was awesome. Like, John Blackthorne was supposed to come there and kind of use English stuff to like sway them against the Spaniards, you know, because the English don't like the Spaniards and so on and so forth. And there's a scene where you like, it's always known that the British can't cook, so one of the lords gives John a pheasant or a bird or something, and instead of just cooking it, he hangs it up. He says, no one touches it. It's got to rot there for essentially a week, and then we'll cook it in a stew. And everyone's complaining about the smell, and he actually makes this like offhand thing. Anyone touches this, you'll die. Someone ends up having to, because it's just stinking up the whole place, and they're all about perfection and like a presentation and stuff. Yeah. So the old gardener, he said, I'm old, because they were talking about it, like, who's going to do this? We have to die, but who's going to do it? And the old gardener guy was like, I've lived a good life. I'll do it. So John comes back, and he loved the gardener, and he goes, where's the gardener? And he's like, well, you said if anyone takes that down, they die. So he took it down because he had to, and then he killed himself. And he was just like, he literally looks at all of them just appalled. He's like, what is wrong with you people? He literally said, what is wrong with you people? And then like he goes to complain to the lady who's of the show, who is like his handler kind of thing. Like she's the translator essentially. And she's like, you need to quit. Like, you need to understand your words have meaning here. Like, everything that is said is meant so literally. And you don't come crying to me. You told him that. It's on you that he's dead now. And he did that for the honor of this household. So you need to honor that sacrifice kind of thing. And I'm just sitting there like, what is going on? He ends up presenting that dish, and no one liked it. They all threw it out. No one liked that food.
Did they eat it at least?
They took like a bite, and they said, I'm not doing anything with it.
I like that this is sort of an unexplored area, at least to my knowledge, in like film and TV. I'm sure there's like Japanese films that cover this period, but
absolutely.
Is this more like feudal Japan, or this is sort of like right when?
It's like the age of exploration Japan. Okay. So it is kind of feudal, but they're even leaning away from that a little bit, and that's why the Civil War is there. It's because there was one leader, but there was a bunch of like faction leaders as well, and now they're all vying for control kind of thing.
Interesting.
So the main character, what's his name? The main character,
John?
No, the main Japanese character, Yoshi Toranaga, is really cool because he's not exactly a good guy, right? But he's the best of the Japanese people. So like, they're in a meeting, and one of his people steps out and like speaks out to the other lord, You don't do that. That's disrespectful. So while Toranaga's like, yeah, you should, like, I agree with what you're saying. You don't do that. You don't disrespect me or that person. And he has him kill him and his whole family.
Wow.
He's like, to honor you, I will commit seppuku. I'll kill myself, my wife, and my unborn child. Toranaga ends up doing, or not unborn child, my new birth child.
Ugh, that's even. Well.
Yeah, but instead it's literally he talks it to where the mom gets to live, but the kid and him die. So the bloodline is killed off.
That's crazy.
So like, even though Toranaga is the good guy, he's still like. Women will be spoken to when they're spoken to by the husband, kind of thing. Like,
he's working within the system.
He's working within the system that he still kind of believes in himself.
Yeah.
But he still does believe in the overall greater good of Japan. Mm-hmm. Oh my! It's just so I can't say anything but good. Like the whole time I'm watching it, it's just like a completely different show than what I'm used to watching. That I'm just like, this is just peak. This is cinema.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I loved it.
My number 3 show is The Three Body Problem. It stood out to me as one of 2024's best shows in general. It masterfully blends intellectual depth with emotional resonance. I love the complex plot line and the unraveling story. It felt like I had no clue where the story was going, and I kept getting surprised by what came next. I don't know how much I want to say here. I don't actually want to spoil anything in the story. I would just encourage you to watch it if you like sci-fi. If I do have to complain about anything, I would say the characters give way to the story. I mean, they're all well written and everything. I just wouldn't call them particularly memorable. I didn't remember characters' names and stuff like that. I would also say it's kind of complicated. Like, it was sort of hard to follow. You don't want to play on your phone the whole time. This needs to be digested properly. The show was created by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss of Game of Thrones fame with Alexander Wu, based on the famously unadaptable book series. It seems like D&D are going to get typecast as making incredible, mostly television out of incomprehensible books. Basically, if you love sci-fi, I would say check it out. Three Body Problem. Did you know anything about this before we started talking about it?
No, and I'm so upset because I remember when it first came out, me and my buddy Brody were talking about it because he had started it. He didn't tell me anything about it. And I was like, it's on my list. I want to go watch it because I have no idea about it. I just knew the premise was that scientists were killing themselves. Yeah. And then you came, and can I say what you told me?
Sure, yeah.
You came in and you said, after watching, you said, it's about aliens. And I said, motherfucker, why did no one tell me this? Because I would have watched it months ago. So now I definitely have to go watch it.
To give a more, I guess, in-depth kind of setup to the story. So scientists are killing themselves. Science essentially is not working correctly. They have all these like different scientific machines that are doing the wrong, data, and they're spitting out the wrong stuff. Everything looks kind of wrong. Like, space is weird. Like, there's stars are in weird spots and stuff. And then one of the characters gets this like video game headset, and they're tasked with finding out the answer to this problem, the three-body problem. And this is basically you're on this alien planet, and there's shifting gravitational forces, there's shifting tides, like there's essentially 3 suns for this one planet. Yeah. So I think it's 3 suns. It's 3 suns. Yeah. 3 heavenly bodies essentially affecting the one planet. So Three Body Problem is why it's called that. And then she figures out kind of like what to do. What to. I guess the Three Body Problem is like this thing in science or math or whatever. Yeah. Famously, it's like hard to solve. Like, there is no solving it. Like, you get all these data and you get all this information essentially from this game, and you try to figure out what'll save these people on this planet, and then we figure out that's not a game. The aliens were showing the humans their history.
Oh, so it's kind of like Ender's Game, where it's not actually a game. You're actually simulating real life.
I did think of Ender's Game when I was watching this. It was a little more like VR-y than Ender's Game, because Ender's Game, I think he's like watching a screen or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, you're in the world essentially.
Well, no. By the end of Ender's Game, they do have they have it pulled up, and it's like massive ships and fighting each other and stuff. Like, you're seeing the whole thing play out, like a Warhammer type thing, where all the pieces are down doing stuff.
Yeah. But so essentially that's the sort of the show. It's sort of like this. They do figure the answer to the problem, the Three Body Problem, is that you just get the people off the planet.
Oh, really?
So it's about the aliens and these humans who are kind of working with them at first.
Do we get to see the aliens?
Yeah, they just look like people.
No.
They're called like the Shati or whatever.
No,
and they just look
dude,
like people.
I hate people aliens.
But I would totally recommend. It's just such an interesting story, and it leaves on such an interesting place. They're gonna have to do another season of it.
Yeah. Well, it's a book series, so there's more stuff to pull from.
Right. I think there's 3 books in the whole series, but again, like I'm wanting to talk about, like I've this whole week I've been like, have you started that yet?
Yeah. I'll probably I'm binging Suits right now, but I may take a break after this season that I'm watching and just start it and knock it out.
For transparency's sake, I did start the show when it came out, and I didn't finish it because I kind of thought, it was a lot to
Yeah.
kind of comprehend and take in. But
Like you said, it was because you were half watching it.
I was on my phone. Yeah, I was playing on my phone. So if you watch it, you got to kind of focus on it and kind of envelop into it and stuff. I do recommend it though. I would say if you're a big fan of sci-fi, like complicated kind of sci-fi, you'll probably like it.
Which I will say on the vein of like watching it with your phone and stuff, Netflix is apparently trying to get their producers and stuff to make stuff that you can watch in the background. Blows my. I hate the way.
There's
I don't
a whole term for it.
Yeah.
Second screen content.
I hate that, dude. Because from a guy who loves just first screen content, when I watch something, I'm watching it.
Yeah.
If I pull up my phone, that means I don't want it.
Yeah.
Don't want to watch it. You know what I mean? So the fact that that's just something people do now. Oh, I'll have something on and be on my phone. What are you doing?
I mean, I get it. I do that as well, but I do it with stuff like I've already seen for the most part. Like
Yeah.
I'll put on like the Star Wars movies or whatever while I'm working on something, just so I'm not like paying attention to it.
That's the thing for me is if my mentality is if I'm gonna turn my phone on, I don't need to watch it.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
You are right.
So I don't. If I'm not 100% truly wanting to watch something, I don't watch it.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like, oh, well, holier than thou or anything. It's just I can't wrap my mind around turning on something and with the intention to watch it and then pulling your phone up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your girlfriend's funny because she does sort of the opposite of that. Like she'll if we're at a party or something
Yeah.
and like it's at your house, she'll put on Spider-Verse and expect me not to watch it.
Yeah. She's like, no, this is just background. If you put something on that TV, I will be sitting down front and center, ignoring all of our guests and watching that movie. I don't care if I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
It's on the TV. I'm watching it.
The first like house party I went to in college, there was this show called The Mick. Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's like the lady from Always Sunny is the main character. I was kind of uncomfortable because I didn't really like the people that were there and stuff, and I was just like sort of sitting there, and I was like, "Oh, the Mick's on. I'll watch this." And then I was trying to turn the volume up, and like the remote control didn't have any batteries in it, so I was like, I guess we could just turn on subtitles, and I'll just like the subtitles were just on, so I was like, I guess I'll just watch the subtitles on.
Prime example, we're at our buddy's wedding. And they're trying to organize everyone taking pictures. I couldn't give a rat's ass about what's going on because you turned on the Mario movie for your kid in the room, and I want to sit there and watch the Mario movie.
She was like mad at us too for not helping, but
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, well, Mario's got to save the
Mario
princess.
is
I
on
don't know.
the movie screen, dude. The preacher was there, and we were both sitting there.
The preacher did it too, yeah.
We were just watching, and I get up to go take pictures. And said, oh, I gotta leave, dude. I can't watch the rest of it. He looks at me and goes, I'll tell you what happens. You know?
I'm pretty sure he saw it on theaters or
Which
something.
he knew that, but it was a good joke at the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, all that to say, 3 Body Problem, probably a complicated watch.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you dropped it a little bit lower on the list.
Yeah, it's number 3. I wouldn't have put this on my list if I could have put another, like your number 1. If I could put your number 1 on my list, I wouldn't have had this on here.
Absolutely.
However, I do really enjoy it. It was number 4
Yeah,
on my
for sure.
official list.
For sure. The number 2 show for me for 2024 is going to be Amazon's Fallout adaptation. In a world where almost every video game adapted TV show and movie has been a bust or an absolute disappointment, I'm looking at you, Halo. Fallout showed just how great a video game turned TV show could really be. Following Vault Dweller Lucy, played by the amazing Ella Purnell, we see her exploring the wasteland in search for her missing father. That is literally the plot of almost every Fallout game. You going out and finding a missing family member. During her journeys, she will run into the talented Walton Goggins, playing the Ghoul, and Matt Berry, who plays a Mr. Handy. The cast is star-studded. The humor is spot on, and the show really captures what the fans of the video games really appreciate. It would go on to win Best Video Game Show Adaptation at the Game Awards. It was so successful that the Fallout 4 video game saw a massive resurgence in players and purchases after the launch on Amazon Prime. Promising a second season just as action-packed and adventurous as the first season, people are chomping at the bit for it to be released. I, for one, can't wait to see a Deathclaw on the silver screen. This is a series that me and you covered on the channel, so you guys can be sure to go check that out. But we were blown away.
Yeah.
I remember when we talked about it, we were both like, it's just another adapted TV show. It's not going to be good. And we ended up getting some friends over, and we watched like the first 2 episodes, and we were like,
Pretty good.
wow, that's pretty solid. You know what I mean?
I think there's because like you said in your intro there's a ton of bad video game adaptations shows. Like the Halo show was a huge disappointment. The Assassin's Creed movie was like a big disappointment for me.
Terrible.
So I'm in the point where I'm like, I don't really if it's a video game adaptation of something I like, I'm gonna go in with a very open mind and just kind of see how it takes me. And like this was a huge surprise I think for me and everybody.
Yeah, insane. I remember at the time that this came out, we'd also gotten Invincible, Reacher, and The Boys.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like, Prime can't miss right now. Like they are just shooting out bangers left and right.
I've got a Prime show on my list as well.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. I haven't seen the script. No, but I really like because Fallout is a beloved Bethesda IP.
Yep.
People love Fallout. I've loved it. I love New Vegas. I love Fallout 4. Fallout 3 was but I still loved it. Seeing like the little throwbacks to the game, you know what I mean? And feeling like you're literally just playing the video game but watching it as like an interactive show.
That's the key. Like if it's an RPG anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pigeonhole yourself. Granted, we would all like to see a Fallout New Vegas movie or whatever.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, like, you've got the world and you've got the like D&D did it as well. You remember the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Such a good movie.
They were like, this is sort of within the mechanics of our world. So like Lucy and the Ghoul and Maximus, who you did not mention in your intro.
Because every time I think about him, I just think of that scene that I just can't say. Maybe you'll throw it up there.
Say it. Why not?
He just goes, "I'm ready for my cock to explode."
What a great scene. That's like, I feel like people that don't watch the show or haven't seen the show have seen that scene. Like,
and that's the thing. I love him. It's just, like I said, we've got Walton Goggins. We've got Matt Berry, who's very briefly in the show.
Like one
brother,
episode.
he steals it for me, honestly. Yeah. And then when he's like, back when they do the flashbacks, he's a world-renowned actor. He tells the women, he's like, "You want to take this upstairs?" And they go, "Oh, no.
No.
Oh, God, no." But, it's nice meeting you.
It's so fun. So the Book of Boba Fett, just briefly aside, the Book of Boba Fett uses Matt Berry as a robot as well.
Yeah.
And does nothing with him.
Yeah.
He's one of the best like comedic voices, like, and I mean that literally, like his voice is very funny. And they don't do a single thing with him. Yeah. He's like a scary looking robot that doesn't, he says like a couple words to Boba Fett. You've got Matt Berry, make him do something funny. Fallout makes him do something funny.
Well, what's crazy too is Matt Berry was the Mr. Handy in Fallout 4.
So it works perfectly.
We'll bring you back, dude.
That's
you
awesome.
You can be the Mr. Handy.
And his star has kind of risen since that game as well.
Absolutely.
Like he's in like more shows and movies and stuff.
So the show, it's star-studded. Not to throw any shade to Maximus. Love him. I think he's an awesome actor.
Or Dog Meat,
or the the Fallout. I mean the Brotherhood of Steel dude who gets turned into a ghoul. He gets shot with an arrow. He's like, "Oh man,
I love that guy.
I don't want to be a ghoul." It's awesome. The dystopianness of it, the fact that in the game you have to pick a faction by the end of it, and you literally have that moment in the show where Lucy has to essentially pick a faction. It's just. It's perfection.
And they've all got
really
their
so good.
special stats. Or like, remember they released the special stats and
stuff?
Dude. That's what I mean when I say you can do an RPG and do it well within the mechanics of your world, but not like explicitly say that. You know what I mean?
It's so, it's so good. Talking about like when they do the intro to the vault itself and you've got everyone like laughing and having a good time. I totally forgot too, Lucy's little brother, played by Moises Arias
from Hannah
Montana, dude. Oh, man.
He was good. The whole thing, like, genuinely was really well handled. And I like the evolution of the characters. Like, Lucy and Maximus start the show and end the show in completely different spots.
Yes.
Even, like, Maximus might get more into the Brotherhood of Steel now. Yeah. You remember that? Like, there was all this stuff. Like, the dog came back and...
Yeah, there's a scene where Maximus, like, fights everyone in the vault because he thinks he's saving Lucy. But then the vault people were like, "We're sending you out to the wasteland." And he's like, "Oh, no, don't do that." And she goes, "And you're only getting 2 weeks worth of supplies. And I only have one eyeball."
And then he comes in and just like destroys everything.
He's like beating them up and stuff, dude.
Chris Parnell's in that, dude. Amazing show.
Told you.
To fun little like sidekicks and just like random off episodes. Everything looks great.
So good, dude.
Like the Gulper or whatever.
Yeah, the
Gulper. He looks amazing.
There's a part where it perfectly personifies Bethesda's RPGs. Walton Goggins' ghoul says, "There's one rule: thou shalt be waylaid by side quests," or something like that. You know what I mean?
Thou shalt get distracted by random bullshit.
Exactly, and it's like that's not the gist of an RPG from Bethesda. You never do the main storyline. You always do all the side quests instead.
God, and like the flashbacks, like the pre-war time was all fun.
Dude. The showing the thumb, and why the vault boy does the thumb. So, but it's so serious. It's got drama to it too. It's just such a good show.
The perfect tone. It strikes like the exact right tone for something like that. Fallout is funny and gross and scary and dramatic. It's all everything. The stuff. Yeah.
If my number one didn't come out, this would have been my number one of the year.
Yeah.
I can't gush about it enough. You know what I mean? Which we didn't. We have 4 videos. No, 8 videos. Episode breakdowns of every single one of them. Go watch them. We loved making them. That was an exhausting time, though, because they released all that at one point. So we were like, watch this.
It all came out at once for some reason. They're not doing that again.
No.
Like, they're going to, after Fallout became a big success, it was like, or was it a big success because it did that?
I kind of think it was, but we were cranking out 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
We were trying to get them out. Yeah. Dog. It was brutal. Yeah. But yeah, be sure to go check that out if you haven't. Really good.
My number 2 of 2024 is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. This one is a favorite of mine because of the compelling chemistry between leads Donald Glover and Maya Erskine. The series expertly blends action, comedy, and emotional depth with sharp writing, thrilling espionage sequences, and moments of introspection. Its stylish direction and engaging world building created a cinematic feel, while themes of identity, trust, and betrayal made it highly relatable. The show uses spy missions to bring up aspects of a relationship, like the episode where they go to the mountains on a guise of a vacation and they end up arguing the whole time. My favorite example is the episode where they're trying to save Ron Perlman and he's acting like a child, giving them a parenting allegory. I was hooked from episode 1 and I'm eager for a second season. Did you watch this at all? Do you know about
I
this?
did not. I'm again another one that we both said maybe we'll give it a watch, and then you end up watching it and I didn't, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I won't spoil the ending of it then because there's kind of a big spoiler, but I mean, from episode 1 you get your characters and you understand like the setting that they're in and the place. So Donald Glover's character is like a romantic kind of guy, and Maya Erskine's more kind of cut off. I think she's like got like psychopathic tendencies, honestly.
Really?
Like she's like a spy.
Yeah.
But she's not trying to like get committed to anybody.
Now,
really.
do they know they're spies?
Yeah.
Okay, so this
I think so. There was
this is more like Spy X Family than it is.
kinda, I guess. Yeah.
Than Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, so Mr. and Mrs. Smith was like a TV show from like I want to say like the 60s or something.
Yeah.
And it got rebooted with Brad Jelena.
Yeah.
And then this is sort of in the same world as that, I believe.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, each season will follow a new Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm not spoiling the ending of it, but I do believe that's the proper way to do it.
Okay.
Especially you can focus on different relationships and different types of dynamics and stuff like that.
Problem is, though, Donald Glover, I'm just a fan of literally everything he does.
He's a standout for sure.
He's insane. He can do stand-up, he can rap, and he's an actor. Like,
before I wrote this, there was a couple TikToks I saw randomly, but just about like how something was up with Donald Glover, and I was like, did he get canceled or something? What happened?
Yeah.
And I looked into it. Apparently, it's just that he likes Asian girls a lot.
Really?
He raps about Asian girls. He puts Asian girls in the show with him.
No way.
But I think she was actually a fill-in. Like she wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be the original. I think it was Phoebe Waller-Bridge was supposed to be in it.
Oh, really?
And I think she was like the second pick because Phoebe Waller-Bridge was busy. I think that's true.
Yeah.
But either way, I think people were just mad that he's was into Asian ladies.
People get mad at everything.
You know, if you got your tendencies,
if you've got your types or your preferences, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Just don't fetishize it. If you like Asian women, you like Asian women.
That's this thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But this show is great, and I think he had a lot to do with kind of making it that way. And the tone of this is perfect as well. Like the first episode, they kind of explain that. Or I don't even know if they explain it. They might just leave it up to interpretation, but. You get this idea that they sort of put you with someone that you would be compatible with, so you will get in a relationship with them. So it means more to you that you succeed in your missions.
Wow, that's cool.
So like you're kind of not like you're not doing it just for the mission at that point or just for the money. You're doing it to make sure, like if it gets into a firefight, you're going to care more about it because your wife is next to you, kind of a thing. And they meet other Mr. and Mrs. Smiths who kind of have the same thing. Like they kind of say as much and they kind of have that same aspects to them. But that's another thing too. Like there's a whole episode where they meet the other Mr. and Mrs. Smith and they're like, you want to do a mission with us? And they completely bail on them and make them do the mission.
No way.
It's like this complete betrayal. And it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know like the relationship parallel with that one. It's just like, sometimes your friends are not your friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're
That's
but they still got half the money for not even going. They just gave them half the
Damn.
money. I know, crazy. And it was like a really hard mission too. It was like a really like crazy thing they had to do.
That's insane.
The Ron Perlman stuff, dude. That's like my favorite episode.
I didn't even know he was in the show until you said that.
He keeps saying stuff like, "My feet are tired. Can I sit down? I need to sit down. I want something to drink." Like he's
Dude,
just
whiny
all
Ron
the time.
Perlman. I have to watch just for the whiny Ron Perlman.
It's perfect. And like she surprisingly is more like affectionate towards him than Donald Glover is, because normally Donald Glover's the nice guy.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason at this episode, he's like the one pissed off at Ron Perlman.
That is insane.
Anyway, there's a lot of great episodes like that. Like there's like fidelity issues, there's infidelity issues, because like they're not really dating at first, and she's trying to like bang the neighbor or whatever, and he's just like super not cool with it. And they kind of have that kind of issue, and there's like the whole trust thing. It's perfect. I think it's it blends the line perfectly of like, this is a fun joke that we're doing an allegory for relationships and spy missions.
Yeah.
But then it also like is a really well told story too.
Yeah.
I would recommend it highly.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely gonna have to watch. I'm loving us talking about this stuff because I'm more like, oh, now put them on the list. It's shot straight up, which is what we hope happens with you guys. Is we talk about these and you go, oh, I definitely want to go watch that kind of thing. But yeah, that sounds awesome. My number one pick for the year 2024 is none other than the Penguin from HBO Max. Colin Farrell is unrecognizable as Gotham City's newest up-and-coming crime boss, the Penguin. After the events of Batman in 2022, this was a highly anticipated continuation of Matt Reeves' Batman microverse. The show could be both enjoyed as a superhero show, but also as a gritty, dark crime drama that has its viewers hooked from the very first episode. Boasting an amazing cast with the likes of Kristen Milioti, Renzi Felice, and even Clancy Brown. These actors portrayed amazing depth and complexities through their characters and how they interacted with each other. Colin Farrell has quite possibly created the definitive version of who we think of when we think of the Penguin, much like Heath Ledger did with Joker or Hugh Jackman did with Wolverine. This show was non-stop edge-of-your-seat drama and stakes that had me eagerly waiting for each new episode every week. We actually reviewed this series on the channel as well. Be sure to check those videos out after watching this one. Hopper, the Penguin.
So something I thought about immediately after watching this, I was like, this makes Sony and what they're doing with the Spider-Man stuff look like a bunch of toddlers playing in
Don't
the sand
shit on the wall. You know what I mean?
Because
Here's Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
No, it's not Spider-Man. Here's the Rhino or whatever
He knows Spider-Man. You know?
Here's the thing, right? They made a show about a villain where he's a villain.
And it was perfection,
And you know what? We related to him and we kind of liked him up until like the last episode.
Dude, not even. Like, it was probably like 4 episodes in when you really were like, that guy.
He's literally playing every side of the ball.
Yeah.
He does not give a about anyone but his mom, literally.
And he doesn't even care about his mom.
Not at the end of it because she doesn't like him.
What he cares about is how people like and love him.
Yeah, that's all.
That's all he cares about. But he thinks he cares about his mom. He doesn't. He just wants his mom to only love him.
Yeah.
It's, oh my God, Colin Farrell, the special effects, the practical effects that they did to turn him into the Penguin, Hopper.
It's so funny. I remember when the first episode came out, and I went on Twitter, and people were talking about it. It just showed him like naked and tied up and on the chair and stuff, and it was like Hollywood used to be full of actors like this. Now we got to make them. Yeah, we got to make them out of clay and whatever.
Dude, I'll make him out of clay if it's Colin Farrell. You know what I mean?
Have you seen the episode? Well, I don't know if it's like a an online thing, an interview or whatever, and it's Kristen Milioti and Colin Farrell.
Yeah, they're
watching
discussing.
it.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, oh, oof, like they're kind of like, oh,
they can't
like
even
they don't
watch
to watch
their
it.
performances.
Yeah, dude, that's transformative, like really transformative.
Kristen Milioti playing
the Hangman.
Yeah, what's her real name though?
Sophia Gigante.
Yeah, Gigante, who was Sophia Falcone
at first. Yeah.
First of all, mommy.
Oh, dude.
Please pick me up and feed me some formula.
Let it be known I've liked her since How I Met Your Mother. I've liked her since day one, since I've seen her.
Palm Springs, maybe?
Yeah, Palm Springs.
Yeah.
She's also in The Sopranos for like a second. She's like one of the characters' daughters or something.
Just a baddie. She's in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have someone like Margot Robbie because otherwise, why are you leaving her?
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
No, amazing. The depth of her character, the acting on this, every actor just showed up and showed out. You know what I mean?
Written by Lauren LaFranc, I think her name is.
Yeah.
And
just
showrunner and stuff. I think, and we get a lot of that, like
really shows that women can do good
get
stuff.
It done.
Yeah.
You cut that. Well, you get put that in. It's going in. You get that feminine angle of like, oh yeah, no one's respecting her at all. Like this, you know, you get that like.
But she's not a victim from it.
No, well she's
kind of a victim, but she's like
she turns it around on him. You know what I mean? Like she really gets her revenge and vengeance, and
like she kills the spoilers, obviously,
but
kills her whole family.
Yeah,
you know,
and they kind of deserved it, like
100%,
literally,
dude.
And that was the whole thing. She's like, oh, that was the best day of my life. Like she said something like that.
You know what's best of mine too? You put on that smoking yellow dress,
dude. The costuming was perfect.
Oh man, the final suit that Penguin has.
Yeah,
you know, at the end of it, the 3-piece with the top hat.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like that they changed his name to Oswald Cobb instead of Oswald Cobb.
Yeah.
I like that they don't mention it that much though, so it's not really rubbing salt in the wound for me.
Right.
But other than that, the world felt good. It felt gritty, but not too dark and gritty. There was still my main beef with Batman movies is there's always like a grayscale.
Yeah.
You can do gritty without a grayscale. So like the sun was still shining, you know, it was still bright. They had the dark effects and stuff. It was just.
I'll tell you what it was. Cinematic is the word I would use. Like it's very pretty show, and we don't usually. I mean, like a lot of normal superhero stuff, like is pretty grayed out and, you know, like just not colorful. This is pretty colorful. And I think the Batman's pretty colorful too.
Yeah. It's a lot better than Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy was just so
for sure
depressing, which I get. It's part of it.
If you take like Man of Steel or like the Batman versus Superman and like compare it to the Batman, it's like night and day difference of like gray and Dark Knight and
bright day, brightest day.
No, yeah, the whole thing with like Arkham and like I feel like it just said so much.
Watching her spiral too.
Yeah.
Like just being a regular person and then she actually spirals into who they think she is.
I like that the Penguin was like in on it from day one with her too. Like he was like really like a good antagonist for her anyway, because he was like the one who told her dad to whatever.
Oh my god!
Dude. What about John Turturro saying, "I'm not coming back because there's a lot of violence toward women"?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like, brother, you choked out your. Or no. He was like attacking Selena Kyle in the first one, wasn't he? Like,
I think he did, but I think he didn't like doing it, and then he realizes, oh, in this show, I've got to strangle and hang my wife.
And like the main plot of the show is me putting my daughter in an asylum or whatever.
I mean, I could see where you're just like, it makes me uncomfortable to do that.
Hey, John Turturro, buddy, you're playing a villain.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
But,
it's not good that you're doing that, but no one thinks it's good that you're choking your wife.
That's what I'm saying. That they sold these roles so well that if he couldn't fully embrace that, first of all, props to him for not wanting to do it, but also props to us because it would have shown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The acting wouldn't have been. Mark Strong said, beating women? Sign me up, dog. Essentially.
I don't think he signed on for that reason.
No. He said, I get to beat up on women?
I don't think he signed on for that reason. But this is also like his 5th comic book role. Like Mark Strong's been in like a ton of comic book projects now. I think he just likes the money.
He just likes it. The money. I think he's probably just a big closeted superhero nerd.
Probably
could
so.
be.
I bet so. Yeah.
No, everything about the show though.
The ending though, when he killed Victor, bro.
When he kills Victor,
that was like gut wrenching.
I was throwing popcorn at the screen. Boo! Get him off the stage.
Dude, I want Batman to break this man's teeth.
Yeah,
I need Batman to break his neck, but not kill him.
At the same time, I would watch a season 2 of the Penguin.
Oh yeah,
like I know we're not getting one. I don't think.
I think they were discussing ideas, like maybe they could do it. I think it would come after the second.
But
movie,
if Matt Reeves' script writing is as long, I don't want another Penguin.
I think, from what I understand, he's like still writing.
Yeah,
the
he's
second
still
Batman.
writing the Batman.
Well, LaFranc is writing the show, so that's at least she could do that.
Yeah.
But no, I think what I heard from either Colin Farrell or somebody was that he's going to have a kind of a cameo in the second movie, or he'll be in the second movie barely, and then he's going to be like a bigger deal in the third one.
Yeah.
And I kind of think Kristen Milioti will be a big deal in the movies as well.
I hope so. Do not waste the potential of any of these actors.
Yeah.
Bring Victor back to life. He can literally be Solomon Grundy.
Oof. I wouldn't like that.
No.
Don't do that. No.
His death too was just
insane.
It hurt. And then he has that prostitute lady dressed up as his mom now.
Oh my god.
The mom dynamic, dude. Oh my god. This whole show.
When they were like getting like tortured and she was and Sophia was just like spell it out, like say it, and like he would like let her get like he was gonna let her finger get chopped off.
It's not even your finger, you asshole. Just tell her the truth. I already know. And he goes, no, Ma, you're confused.
And then she comes up and stabs him, bro. Yeah. It's like the crazy dude. I love that show. I want to rewatch it.
I want to rewatch it. Yeah, I want to rewatch. I got my girlfriend as a reason. Hey, we should watch this together. You know what I mean? But yeah, great show. Great number one. Great way to wrap up because it came out at the end of 2024. October, November-ish. So great way to wrap up a phenomenal year, in my opinion, of awesome shows.
Number one on my list has to be X-Men 97. It was a successful revival of a beloved 90s animated series, combining nostalgia with modern storytelling. This show brought back fan-favorite characters like Wolverine, Cyclops, and Storm while introducing new ones and expanding the X-Men universe. The animation and art style stayed true to the original while improving on what came before. The updated writing and modern character arcs made it accessible to a new generation. With sharp dialogue, emotional stakes, and thought-provoking themes on social issues and identity, the show also benefited from a strong voice cast, energetic action sequences, and engaging plot. I'm so excited for more, but I know the previous showrunner was let go and replaced with the showrunner from What If, so I'll keep my excitement under control for now.
Yikes. Two things about that. First one, I love that you said brought back fan favorites and didn't list Jean. I love
Jean's
that we're on the
okay.
Jean hate train.
I don't hate Jean, but
I can't stand
she's
Jean.
not my favorite character. No, I was thinking the top characters, and I'm thinking Wolverine's got to be there for X-Men. Yeah. Cyclops legitimately had a fan resurgence because of this show.
Saved Cyclops' reputation.
For the general public, at least. I know the comic book fans have always sort of hated how he was portrayed in the movies.
Yeah.
And Storm had their own little Vision Quest thing. I thought that was maybe... Well, I'm on my favorite part
Some
of
of the best parts of the like the transformation she gets when she's flying in the air, and then the visuals of that bird demon. No, it is probably one of the peak plot points.
I like that it was so adult too. It felt very grown up. I mean, the other one was the 90s show was for kids, and I think this is. Kids can watch, maybe teens can watch this more so than kids. I would say don't show your kids this, though.
No, absolutely.
The animation, the new style of I thought it was 3D blended 2D. It may just be 2D. I don't know how they do that.
It's really weird. At first, it was kind of odd for me because it did feel a little stocky when they were walking, but you kind of get used to it. And for them to be able to do what they can with the cartoon show.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much better than what you could do with live action.
Yeah, for sure.
I am scared about the What If showrunners too, because I just have not liked What If since season 1.
And I still don't know exactly what happened with Bo DeMayo. I think he or DeMayo. Bo DeMayo.
They kept it under wraps. There's a lot of rumors swirling around it.
We won't get too much into that or too deep, but like I think he worked on season 2, so season 2 will probably be pretty peak.
Yeah.
And then season 3, I think he recently said, I saw on like social media that he was like criticizing season 3 of What If.
Yeah.
He's like, this is boring and like all these ideas are really bad.
My God, dude. No, great first season.
Like you forget, because Marvel has done such a good job, especially with the MCU. They've done such a good job in minimizing the X-Men as part of the Marvel universe. But then you watch something like X-Men 97 and you're like, these characters are actually the coolest characters they have.
Yeah.
Like Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, they're all peak characters.
When Wolverine's looking at the zombies, he goes, I got 6 reasons why I'm not giving up, bub. And then Nightcrawler shows up, he's like, make that 9. And he's got 3 swords, dude, and they're just fighting zombies.
I'm telling you, man, the action is insane in this show.
So awesome, dude.
And it's like, it's got depth too. Like whenever Rogue thinks she kills that guy.
Yes.
And then they're all just like, what are we doing? Are we
and she was okay with it. Sorry, Sugar. All out of mercy.
Woo! And the Gambit sacrificed himself,
My
dude.
God,
Oh, God. Spoilers for the X-Men 97.
She goes, I can't feel you. Oh, man. He goes, the name's Gambit.
Remember it.
Oh, dude.
I do like that they got some voice actors to return. Like the Wolverine voice actor come back, but I think Cyclops is new.
Yeah.
There's a good blend of it. Like you don't notice anybody's super different.
I love the 2 badass scenes we get of Magneto. The first one when Storm loses her powers and he takes the UN people up and he's like, I'm trying to be better.
Yeah.
For your sake, don't disappoint me and make me let you down kind of thing.
Right.
That whole scene, that monologue, I'm just like, and preach, brother. And preach.
Get it, Magnus.
Mutant lives matter,
Magnus.
dog. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, if I had a criticism, I don't love how much time they spent with Professor X in space.
Yeah, I was so not.
Get
the
over
only
it.
cool
Come
thing
on
there
back.
was the guy.
Gladiator.
Gladiator's so sick.
I love Gladiator, dude.
But also the second when he goes, this is enough. And he flies to the fucking poles and shuts down the Earth's magnetic field.
Dude,
He said,
Magneto's
I've had it.
Magneto, I'll be honest with you, I think he's one of my favorite villains of all time.
100%.
Like, it's Doctor Doom and Magneto, like, especially talking Marvel, it's
The
up
monologuing,
there. Monologue. You dirty dog, you caught me monologuing.
he's acceptable to monologue because his speeches go so hard.
He's so cool, dude.
He's
And I love
so
that it's
sick.
all about the ideology, too.
Yes.
And with Charles not there, he's, like, trying to step in and lead the X-Men.
Which is so admirable.
And I know it's happened in the comics as well. Like, that's something that's happened. So it's just very... I don't know. I love the intro sequence comes back, even though it's like some of those like none of the Brotherhood of mutants were there, but they were still in the intro.
I love the opening episode when Cyclops falls out of the plane and he just
my
laser
God.
blasts onto the ground.
Yes, dude.
What a badass, dude.
To me, my X-Men.
I didn't like that. I don't like that.
That phrase?
I don't like that phrase.
I think it's
weird.
cool. To me, is that what?
Just the whole thing's kind of weird. The Jean storyline was kind of out of left field. Didn't like that much.
Goblin these nuts, king, queen, or whatever.
Baddie. I won't lie to you.
What about that? She was kind of cheating on Scott, or Scott was kind of cheating on her.
But he didn't
in his
know.
mind or whatever.
Carbon. Oh,
It was like in his mind too.
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah,
even a real thing. So
I thought you meant because he didn't know that she was a clone. You know?
no, yeah. Even that's very comic booky. I love shit like that.
Yeah.
Make it as complicated as possible.
Yes.
I'm in, dude.
Mr. Sinister was so cool.
Oh
dude.
my God, Mr. Sinister, bro.
God.
All
what a
the
great
villains
show.
were so just engaging and stuff.
I
too.
remember this show kind of came in under the radar. It just kind of released. We didn't have a lot of trailers for it. I remember coming over to our friend's house and one of you had already watched like the first episode, and you said, "Watch this, it's great." And I watched it. I was like, "What the? Where did this come from?"
X-Men are back, baby.
We're so back. Oh man, yeah, loved it. We do have a review of the X-Men show out on the channel. Be sure to go check it out as well. But yeah, I think these lists are pretty good.
Let us know, I guess, what your top 3 are in the comments. If you had a different top 3 than us, I would love to hear what you thought was the best show or shows of 2024.
Yeah. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification, and let us know when, or to let you know when we go live or when we put out a new video. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.